Alright, this one is on chords. A lot of open chords, really cool ways to play them. Got in the last couple of years where I leave out on these open chords, leave the third out. So if you've got a D chord, you know, unless you just need it as part of your melody, like that kind of thing, you just leave that third out and you're really just playing a power chord. And right there on that D, I'm letting the open D and the open A ring as well, dampening the 6th string with my thumb. And the high E string, I'm dampening it with the underside of my fingers. It's not ringing at all, that high E string. Now, in relation to the D chord, the E is a sus2, and it sounds really cool, so you can substitute that. Or you could just leave it a power chord and have roots and fifths. It sounds so much cooler than the... Leave that to the acoustic guitar player. Do the same thing with an A chord. I did my bar A down here like this, you know, that bar for a long time, you know, and it's got that C sharp in it, which, unless you just need it if you're doing some sort of, you know, a Keith Richards type of, you know, it doesn't have to be in there. So you can, and it's the same thing. If you take that C sharp out and let the B ring open, it's a sus2 again. So it sounds, it's got a really cool sound, especially if you bend the neck. Love the way those sound with the third left out. Same thing with the G. Like a lot of times, or most of the time, we learn to play that open G chord with your first finger right there on the B. But having a third, especially that low, really makes it muddy. So I've gotten where I've got, leaving this one out altogether, got the pinky here, third finger here. So right there you've got a fifth and a root, which is, you know, a power chord. And you got the low G here, and then you've got a fifth, or the root here on the open G, and the fifth again with the open D. So it's essentially just an open string power chord. And it sounds so much better than that, just to me. I mean, it's a subtle thing, but I think it makes a lot of difference. It sonically just kind of leaves more space. And you can save that third for all your licks. You know, leave it in there because it really defines the melody, but I kind of leave it out of the chords more often. Okay, then we talked about high power chords. If you listen, there's some old, I guess late 80s, early 90s, and mid 90s Pam Tillis tunes my band was playing, and I believe it's Dan Huff who produced them and played guitar on them, and he uses these high power chords and they sound really cool. Songs we were doing are Shake the Sugar Tree and maybe it was Memphis, and he's used that stuff on those a lot. The first one it will do is an E. So if you take this up here on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string, that A shape, well, you got the same notes in the same octave down here on the 4th string 2nd fret, 3rd string 4th fret, and then 2nd string 5th fret. Now listen tonally to the difference between here and here. This one, the strings are thinner and they ring a little more, and sometimes you want that. So I'm just playing, I'm hitting all 6 strings with my pick, but I'm just playing, actually sounding those 3 those three strings. The fifth and the sixth I'm dampening with my thumb, is dampening the sixth string, and my first finger is dampening the fifth string right there just by touching a little bit. And this comes from the D shape. So if you got this D shape E chord right here, it's again, you're just leaving that third off right there, and you've got those two, which is, you know, the power chord, and you're just adding that one note below it. And if you want to make it a little bit thicker, you can bar right here and get the B here and play it that way. But a lot of times you don't have to. You just, and that sounds great. You can move it up here and play it like an A. Sounds really, really cool. Really rings a lot. And back down here to E, of course, you got the open E string, so you can let that ring as well. Just you can even work melodies in them. Like that. Okay, so the high power chords. The first one is out of a D shape, which we don't think of that often. The second one is out of a G shape, so we'll stay in E and come up here. So if you've got your G shape sits, you know, right here is the A, and then the G. They both share that three-string bar at the 9th fret, and it sits right here, and it connects the G shape to the E shape up here. So you've got, you know, the 12th fret again. You got the root, the 5th, and the root, and the 5th again. And that's using 4 strings. Of course, you can use, you don't have to use all 4, but that's some of those high power chords. They sound really big and don't take up a lot of space. You know, if you got an acoustic guy or your lead singer's playing, you know, all his first position open chords, this stuff works really well, especially if you got your sound set up where it just kind of jangles and growls more. But those are really cool, and it's the same thing. You can work melodies into it. So those are really cool. I'm going to stop this one just because the time is getting long and it may have trouble loading, but I'm going to pick this up